event. Coming up next, we have the panel discussion, which will be on balancing passion and practicality in the creative field. Earlier on in the event, we spoke about knowing how to balance it, your passion, and also being practical, because there were questions that came up on, do I have to get a white-collar job? Do I have to get a 9-to-5? And how do I manage that with my passion, with my creative work? So this time we are going to be having that conversation, and we'll have two more people who will be adding to the panel that we had earlier on. So as I mentioned them, they'll still come on stage so that we can continue the conversation together. So adding to the panel, we have Mr. Ereck, who goes by Our Majesty as a creative, who is a seasoned photographer who exercises his craft with so much diligence and passion. Within 14 years of constant practice behind the camera, Majesty travels extensively across the National Triangle, doing both photo and video coverages. Though he delivers in various genres of photography, Our Majesty has a succulent soft spot for wedding and portrait photography. With a foundation in journalism, he has served at the Yaoundé Bureau of the Post newspaper as a photojournalist. Our Majesty has been the photographer at the Supreme State Audit Office for almost 10 years now, and he is also a family photographer to some government ministers. Ladies and gentlemen, can we put our hands together for Mr. Awa? Okay. Do I still need to hype the previous panelist? Okay. Can we put our hands together once for Mr. Isiah Nkemboh? Next up, we have Mr. Cliff Clinton. Can we put our hands together for him? Our next panelist, we have Mr. Tangumonkem. And finally, our Don, Mr. Glenn. Can we put our hands together for him? And for our moderator, can we put our hands together for the voice, Jemma? Okay. Good afternoon to everyone once more. Okay, it's also an honor again to be able to moderate with such amazing people. It's an honor to get to feed from your minds and your years of experience. I find it an experience that I would live to remember. So we are going to be talking about balancing passion and practicality in the creative field. I'm sure each of us in one way or the other, we have experienced that crisis of knowing when to follow your passion, know when to be stubborn, and being practical about it. And earlier on, Percy made mention of, parents wanting you to have a white-collar job because you need to make ends meet, and also the interest or following your passion that might not bring you money immediately. So that is what we'll be diving into. I'm sure many of you have so many things in your mind regarding that. So I am going to start with Mr. Awa. How can creatives find a balance between pursuing their passion and meeting practical needs in the creative industry?
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you once again for this opportunity to share from the wells that God has granted us grace. I will start by saying that every creative has something that guides their passion on that direction. As for me, I think I'm guided by Proverbs 22, is it 29? That says thou a man, diligent in his business, and he shall stand among kings. Another version says, see thou a person who is excellent in what he does, and he shall stand before prominent people and not just any kind of person. And while I was still in school doing journalism in Seattle, sometimes even the Jew of Simbok, the Jew of, the one at Cassia, they used to come in for their jobs. And sometimes I will have classes. I would prefer to allow my classes and go film that, that program. And my classmates will always ask me, but why will you leave your study to go film a program? But this very scripture I can say, it actually brainwashed me. That seest thou a man diligent in his business, she shall stand before kings. Not seest thou a man with high qualifications, with an excellent grade in school, but one who is diligent in his business. So at that point in time, I know that your diligence, if you're diligent about something, the kind of people who call you, it matters. And so since they kept calling me, I knew that I was certainly on that track. So even the school was not really that important to me as I'm talking, this is my story now, as per the people were calling me. And so when I eventually, left school for something else, I later understood, I kept telling myself even, as far as I'm concerned, it's not passion. I don't do photography as a passion. And there's something I want to ask. Am I supposed to do my passion, or I should be passionate about what I do? And it's very important because this is the very first time I'll be exposing this kind of mindset across seasoned creatives of this magnitude. And sometimes I keep telling myself, as a matter of fact, my passion is not even photography. If I tell you my passion, you won't like it because nobody's willing to pay me for my passion. I love to stay at home and have a chat with my family, my friends, over a drink or something, but nobody will pay me for that. And so I go for the thing, that can give me the kind of reward and attention I need. And that's why I chose photography. So I believe that even as a photographer, I kept thinking that with time I'll drop photography and do something else, which I believe will give me more respect and money. But with time I understood that photography can give me the kind of money I needed. Because even the journalism, one of my classmates called me, those people went ahead of me in school, that I should help them get a job. I said, you want a job for how much? She said, even 80,000 francs. I said, wow. And this lady, while we were in school, she was very smart. She studied, had more than I did. And she also worked in big organizations. I mean, she had some years of experience as well. But there was no consistency where it had to do with her payment. So she needed something. She wanted to leave from where she was. And that was about the second place she was to leave. So I now understood. So if in photography, I think you can't come with a program for that amount of money and it means something to me. To be honest, with all humility, that's not money for a photographer. So I now understood that I should hold my photography tight. So going back to your question, balancing photography and balancing practicality and passion, right? I would say sit down, have a conversation with yourself, and look at the challenges of the field, and then choose what you think can give you the money, the result, the money you need, and the respect you need.
Okay, so while you were talking, you made mention of being in school and still going for what you knew that you could get the attention and the resources you need. But we're in Africa. You have African parents who believe you have to go to school, you have to have a degree, and sometimes school might not permit you that flexibility to be able to focus or to give that diligence to your craft. So what do you do in that situation?
Wow, I think another thing I'll be saying, another thing I haven't shared with most people. Growing up, I had this passion, I had this desire, this love for things like literature. But my father wanted a medical doctor. And yes, we're actually smart and intelligent in the sciences, and we thought we could make waves in that area, but that was wrong. Some of us never had the services of a guardian counselor who could also counsel us based on our natural strengths and weaknesses. The fact that you perform very well in some subjects does not necessarily mean that you will excel in those courses. I'm coming somewhere now. So back in school, by the time I was going to university, I was no longer on the medical track, which means I already failed on that one. But as I held the camera, That's another story for another. That's a story for another day. And so parents will always desire something big for their children. But that's not completely wrong. There's a way to guide the child in that path by exposing the child to the glory of that path. Let them be the one to buy that vision as their vision. Encourage them. I would say encourage them. Sell the vision to them. It could be through clips, it could be through videos, through people who are making it big in that domain. For example, you want him to be a medical doctor, why don't you let him get to meet guys like Benjamin Carson, reading their books, buying their idea? Let it be his vision, not your vision. Okay, so as for me, always believe in what you're doing something. For me, photography is more of a visionary thing than a passionate thing. Because as for my own passion, it is somewhere in my heart. When I have all the money, when money doesn't matter again to me, I can still go back to my passion. But for now, my passion doesn't pay me. For now, I'll go for the thing that will give me what I need. And photography, believe in me, it is taking me to the places I want to go. It is giving me the kind of respect and attention I want. Sometimes some people disrespect you. But then, what I desire now, I see in photography. And I see a great future in photography.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, let's pass it to Tangumonkem. How can creatives navigate financial challenges that comes with pursuing a career in creative industry? Because you know that when you start out as a creative in whatever field, photography, posting, all of these things, they don't give you money immediately, and you have practical life challenges that are coming at you. You have your rent, people are, your family needs money, you are sick. So how are you able to deal with that?
Okay, I don't have rent to pay. That's the first good thing. Not yet. So maybe about September or so. So that's a very good thing. You asked how I manage personally. It's, for me, there's something I learned from my dad. When I was small, he kept on saying, have two sources of income. Have two sources of income. And he always calls a job a seed. He calls a job, like if you have a job, it's a seed. So I told myself in 2020 that, okay, I want to do media, but I don't have money to start. So what do? I got a job. And I called that job a seed. And what do I mean by seed was I was going to work for some time, save up some money, buy what I need to start. It's true that Glenn was saying that we shouldn't start, but in 2020, my networking was very poor, so I needed to get my own camera and my own laptop myself. So I needed to get a job. So I think I got a job, and that job was a seed. I didn't work there for, I think it was 1.5 years, and then I left because I'd gotten enough seed money to start my own thing. So that's one thing I think creatives could leverage on. Get side hustles. If you see that, okay, you could be a community manager for somebody and earn 100,000 and work online, or going to some place 3 times a week, make that kind of money that will help you pursue your dreams, help you pursue your visions and things like that. So I feel that that's what has helped me. Anytime I get to that point where the money is finished, I start looking for a real stable job. I know that it's bad, like it's bad. I'll look for a stable job. I call it seed. I don't call it a job, it's seed, because it's seed money. I'm getting that money to invest into my own things now. Yeah.
Okay, so as he was talking, it reminded me of something that happened to me earlier this year. So at the beginning of this year, I told myself, okay, latest by February, I want to start shooting my creative documentary. And I was so sure that I was going to start. But when it was time to start, I was zero on my finances. Like nothing. It was really that bad. So I decided, okay, we're going to, my friend said, Jemma, you should leave it first. Maybe it's not time for you to do it. Maybe when you give it a little bit time, by that time, you would have maybe more opportunity, the network, just sit down in one place and work. And following the months that have come after, I've realized that if I had started that documentary at that time, it would have been nothing, because my knowledge now has expanded. I've gotten to know more about what I really want for myself. So I think following what he's saying, we might need our seeds to be able to get us to where we are. Thank you very much, Tangu, for that. Next, we have Mr. Glenn. So you've been in the creative industry for a very long while. So how can someone identify and pursue opportunities that align with both passion and practicality at the same time.
All right. How can somebody identify and pursue opportunities that align with passion and practicalities? All right. So before we come to how you can find opportunities, right? Especially in the development space where I work. If I were to start all over again with all the knowledge that I have now, let's say, for example, somebody puts me in a country like Poland, where I don't know anybody, but I have all this knowledge that I have. I don't have a company, I don't have anything that way to start my business from scratch, right? The first thing that I would want to start doing now is practice. Practice your craft until you are. It is difficult for people to ignore you. And that practice means that for creative spaces, it needs a lot of volunteering. I used to share information. I have a presentation I did one time in my university. They called me one time to come and speak. And I was telling them about how I used to work for free, right? Working for free, I told you guys just a moment ago about the 1 million and the 1,100,000 thing, right? That's a job, honestly, if they had given me maybe 500K, I would have probably been fine with it, right? If it was in Yaoundé, even 400K, I would have probably done it, right? But I got 1 million. I did not get that 1 million francs because I was so good, more than anybody else. It's because there was a time when those people needed somebody to do something, and I did it for them for almost nothing. I entered a page on their good book that when a big project came, they were like, they want me to do it. There is a point where people will not know what you can do until you've shown them that this is what I can do. A lot of us have probably heard somebody say that exposure does not pay bills, or you cannot buy food with exposure. That is a little bit of an overstatement. When you are a young creative, the emphasis here is on young. For me, you cannot pay me with exposure now because I mean, I'm not hungry. Neither am I staying outside. But if you are a young creative and you're looking for opportunities to grow, there are some works that you have to do for free. There are some people that you have to go to them and tell them that just tell me something that you want to do, I can do this. Or you even come up with a concept at times and go and tell them that I just need you to make yourself available, let me do this for you. Sometimes you do it, you will not come out the way you want, but keep on doing it. When you keep doing it, you do one for somebody one day, and let me share a secret. Some of the highest people who have referred me for my biggest jobs, right, are people who directly never paid me for the work I did for them. They felt indebted to me because of something that I had done to them. And when they got the opportunity somewhere, when they heard somewhere that there was an opportunity for something, they were like, no, people should. I've had a guy who had problems in their family meetings because he was not the one paying for the coverage. But he insisted that I should be the one who is paid to cover that event because I had done something for him. This is what they call social capital. Resources is not financial only. There's an aspect of resources that they call social capital. It means that in the US, they call it street credibility. It means that if you are stranded, how many times do you have to call before somebody will come to your aid? Right? So when you're working as a young creative, when you're looking for resources, it's true that you need to pay your bills, you need to do all of that, but also know that there are people who might not be able to give you money, but they'll be able to give you. All right, I wanted to quote an example, but I realized that I signed an NDA, and that example might be breaching the NDA. But there are even some companies that you might have to work for free. because they are third parties. Take, for example, event planners. Let's be practical. There are those of us who shoot weddings here. Let me tell you a secret. The highest people you can do free work for are event planners. I have event planners that if they call me that, Glenn, my son's birthdays, come to the studio, I'll do you photo shoot. Glenn, how much should I pay? Chill it, don't worry, we're family. My pikin birthday, I'm not available, but I'll send somebody to come and do it. Pay only their transport. Don't worry about that. When they'll have a client that they are planning that client's event, if they have 10 photographers, my name is going up to the first. Social capital, my friends, it's very important. It's going to bring you a lot of opportunities. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Okay, so how can creatives effectively manage their time and resources to ensure they're able to pursue their passion while meeting practical obligations?
Okay, let me cite an example, right? I had an opportunity to work for an automobile company. Because I have the passion to create videos that they can use for adverts. I have the passion to market. I have the passion in marketing. So while working at that company, they didn't give me the opportunity to work there as a digital marketer or a video creator. The guy just wanted me to be there and be managing the company. But because we were not having sales the way he wanted, I saw a problem, then I brought in my passion and solved the problem, that was me bringing in a solution. So I was working there, spending my time doing research to also bring in solution in that company by creating video content, doing research on how to better make sales at that company. And another thing is, if you work in a company or you have a white-collar job and they don't give you the opportunity to practice your passion while you're with them, make sure that you have to make sacrifices. I believe that in every aspect of life, there's nothing in this life that you will not sacrifice something for. You have to sacrifice to lose your sleep. Probably within the little time that you have at that job, you can get a message that I need to do this job for me. You have to make sure that you lose your sleep and work on that particular thing and make sure that it's done before the next day that you have to get back to work and start working. So you can make those sacrifices, decide that I will be doing my white-collar job during the day, and at night I manage to do the extra job that I'm getting outside. With that, you can be able to raise your seed money, like Tangu said, raise your seed money and quit the job.
Thank you very much. I think from what he said, I remembered something I was reading online about a content creator. His name is Jay on Air. Jay on Air, I thought, this guy is always dropping videos. Like, he drops skits, immediately the thing happens. Maybe something trends on Twitter or Instagram. Jay on Air has already dropped a video, and you're asking, where does this guy get the time? And this guy has a full-time job. That's what I found out. He has a full-time job. Even others like Justin UG, he said he has a 9 to 5. What he does is he comes back from his 9 to 5, he sleeps a bit, he shoots videos, he edits, goes back to sleep like 4 a.m., 5 a.m., 6 he's up, he goes to his job. And like he said, I think we need to sacrifice for some time. Like he's talked about watering a seed. So I think the sacrifice is also part of watering your seed to get to where you want. So, Mr. Isiah, earlier on in the previous panel conversation, you spoke about how family didn't think what you were doing was relevant or something that you could make a living out of. So how can we get rid of or overcome societal pressures to do more practical jobs?
Okay, like I mentioned in the first session, when people don't believe in you, convince them with your achievements, and that is the way I overcame that. Like, what I did is, because when I finished my advanced level, what I wanted to do was software engineer. That was my dream, but I came to discover it was not my passion. So I enrolled into a software engineering program at the University of Sianto, which at the same time I was pursuing my creative career because that was something I was very passionate about. I loved doing videos and everything has to do with visuals. Like when I used to walk in the street and see see posters, see these billboards, I used to ask myself, how do they do these things? I really want to know how to do these things. So while in school, I was pursuing my creative career, and it was kind of very difficult for me because we may have a CA today, and a client is needing me to come and do some job somewhere. It became very difficult, so I had to choose between school and money. Actually,
which one did you choose? Let's be clear.
I'm coming to that. So in the meantime, I was also having a job, which was not really, let's say, part-time job. I was teaching in a school, and the school actually asked me to make a program for kids to teach them graphic design. And when I started teaching the kids graphic design, that's when I would say I really discovered my passion, because at that point I really understood that was what I wanted to do. I really wanted to do the graphic design and graphic stuff. So I said to myself, okay, my family doesn't want me to do this thing, but that is what I want to do. I remember at the time, my family was like, you should be stupid to choose between software engineering and graphic design. I mean, do you know how much a software engineer gets paid per hour or per month or something like that? And yeah, software engineers actually get paid a lot, but graphic designers too get paid a lot. Graphic designers charge $1,000, $2,000, $5,000, $10,000 for a logo design, for a brand identity design. A lot of us don't know that. Graphic designers actually make a lot of money. So the way I dealt with that is I had a passion and a vision and I had a passion and I had a vision, and my passion was trying to drive me to that vision. So I decided to take a stand. I didn't care about what my family or my siblings were going to say. I decided to take a stand. I decided to drop out from school. I dropped out from school without having even an HND. I stopped at year 2. I got a full-time job. Today I'm a creative director in a creative agency, and I freelance too. And I have a lot of couple other skills which I learned after I had dropped from school, because when I dropped from school, I had a little bit of time, I had a little more time to be doing my creative stuffs and everything. So what I would say is, and today my family members are my #1 supporters. Like I said, like I said previously, my elder brother referred clients to me. He was the one fighting me for that. He was the one telling me you cannot be doing graphic design. Today he refers clients to me and he brags about me and all that. So let your achievements convince your family members, convince the society. A lot of people are not going to accept. I remember once my former classmate, were in Form 4 together, and Form 5 together, we got ordinary level together. He called me. After I got my advanced level, I went out of Douala. He called me one day and he was like, the teacher came to class because I wrote advanced level in lower seats. So they were in upper seat that time. The teacher came in class and he was asking, where's Isiah? People were like, Isiah is gone. He has advanced level. And he was like, and what is he doing now? And a friend said, he's a photographer. And the class shouted, hey, Isiah, with all that physics in you, today is a photographer. And society will not accept. People are going to mock you. People were mocking at me when I was taking pictures and posting on my Facebook. People were like, I said, bro, you're the new photograph. Though I went to the physics class, they put the new photograph and everything. It was very difficult for me, but I knew what I was going to. I knew what I wanted to become. I knew the dream I was chasing, and I took my stand and I went for it. And today I will say I'm proud of my decisions, and I'm proud of what I did.
Please, let's. Okay, so following what he said, he just reminded me about something Burna Boy said. Isiah said we should let our achievements speak for us. And Burna Boy said, you go explain, tire. Evidence, no go they say you don't make up. So everything you do, you have to show the workings of what you are doing. So Tangumonkem, you picked up a mentor when you started out in your career. So what role did your mentorship play in helping you strike a balance between your passion and your practical life?
Concerning that, I feel like I picked the wrong mentor concerning school and all of that. The first advice he gave me was that I should stop going to school. No, he was honest about it, and he told me that, I remember he was like, come and stay in my house, let's make money. And I was like, okay, chill. Because my mentor, I did earlier, he put all of his degrees in water. He's done with that. He didn't want anything with that. But there was something at the end when we had the whole toss and I explained to him why I needed to have a degree. And he told me it was good to get the degree. But then get the degree and give your parents and focus on what you want to do. It's important to have degrees. In this society where we're living in, it is important to have the degrees. It's important to go to school, learn the book, as they say it. Because some opportunities for you that you easily get might be closed because you don't have a degree in anything. I feel like in Cameroon, people respect people with paper more than people with skills. So let's know our context and then know what we want to do. Glenn is able to sit here and talk because he's finished his degree. I think if he was still struggling with that degree part, you'd have had issues. Nobody would have given you your school fees to do masters before you decide to do what you want to do with your master's money, because he had that degree. So it's really important. So most often I was juggling between Karawa's house and Swa, which was really far, but then I'm doing it. I think I would advise young creators to do the two. If you have the chance to get a degree while working, go for the degree. There are programs now. I mean, schools in Cameroon are just so very funny. They don't need you to be there every day. You could literally register in the program in Guayaquil and go there twice the whole year, and you'll pass. Yes, I'm serious. We're in Cameroon, we know. We know if you study hard and all of that, even if you don't study hard, you'll still pass because it's a country. So if you have the opportunity to get the degree while following your passion, you should do it. It's very important. The degree is very, very important. A degree in whatever, even if it's in agriculture or whatever, is important. But if you can have the opportunity of studying film or something, right now Guayaquil offers, I think, cinematography and long overdose does something like that. So it's a good thing to get the degree, chase the degrees.
Okay, thank you very much. So we're going to talk about fulfillment and satisfaction in your work while meeting practical needs.
I'm the kind of photographer that if you ask even Grace, a lot of time I'll have to trouble him just to take him good portraits. I'm really passionate about that. Wherever I go, I must make sure I will catch you and take good pictures of you. Even when I go sometimes to a labs, and something I can send to you free of charge. At times, you will pay before I give them to you. At times, I give them to you free of charge. The truth is that there's a point in time where you're really passionate about this thing that you forget about your own self. If it doesn't happen to you, then you haven't started yet. There are days I go for 2 days without eating, not because there's no food. I completely forget about food until when I feel as if I'm sick. Then I'm asking what's happening, Father. I have not eaten. When I was staying alone, food was getting bad in my house almost on a daily basis, almost every day. I'll buy this one, will get me. Even the food I love, my favorite dish will still get bad. Because you get so carried the work that you forget to eat. It's not just about the money. Yes, the money excites us, but there's what we call loving people. There's this joy you have when people are happy with your work, with your job. You know, I remember one day going to this company, APN. I did some photos for a lady, I gave them to her. This lady literally shed tears. Said, wow, c'est moi qui est belle comme ça. She was so happy that she went and knocked her boss's office. She said, monsieur, j'ai été mes photos. Le gars, il est très bon. Regarde les photos qu'il m'a filmées. The man didn't even have her time. The man said, she disturbed me until the following day I came again. And I said, monsieur, s'il vous plaît, je me fais quelques photos. The man said, non, j'ai la photo de mon fils, ne te dérange pas. I said, monsieur, je peux vous remercier. Le fait que m'a laissé de faire quelques photos dans votre département. Oh, I'm not speaking French. They allow me to take some pictures in your division, in your office, in your bureau. The man said, but I didn't allow you. You did a good job. That's one. And when I convinced, I took him just for free. I said, monsieur, je took him the paper. When I brought him to him, it was for free. He now gave me 30,000 francs in appreciation. But I was not expecting. Now paid now for an enlargement, which I did. Now to go and enlarge it and so much. I said 50,000 francs for what we call 30, 45. When I brought it, he paid my money, the 50,000 francs. You know, it came from loving the job. I can trouble you. In fact, whenever I meet you, when I'm really in that, I'll catch you and take pictures of you. And there's something, I'll just move on the street. I feel like, just imagine I will just start my life afresh. That I lose all my high-profile clients. Just imagine that this minister can say, I don't want to see this guy again besides me. This minister said, this director can say, je ne veux plus voir ce garçon là. I just hung my camera on my neck from Acacia. Before I reached Jemma, Carrefour Jemma, I made about 7,000. Which made me know that, wow. So at this point in time, it was not just anybody can rise. Another day, I was just moving the road, just snapping birds and everything. Before I would come out there, I made about 15,000 francs. So I'm just trying to say, no matter what, that moment will come where you actually feel like you have become a slave. Because if you're not a slave to that which you do, then you have never believed in, you have never seen the glory of that thing. If you see the glory of something, you will lose yourself. But at some point in time now, you gather by yourself and begin to put some things in perspective. What I do now is that I had a mentor, and I paid. This guy is in Nigeria. The guy said, I hope there's nobody here below 20. The guy said, go to your client base. Those below 23 years, remove them. I said, but please, that's about 8% of my clients. They said, forget about them. They won't give you money, but they will stress you. And now remember that this very age group, they will take pictures after and say, please, can you put wings for me so I can fly? They will come again and say, please, can we not? And because they are very unstable. When they see something here, they want to do it for them. And now understood that's where my greatest trouble was coming, because they have so much in their mind. And yes. When the guy initially was difficult, I said, okay, let me try. I said 30. Most of my clients are from 30 years upward. Because when you give them the bill, even they say it's expensive, as long as they like it, they are with you. And it's very easy to get their taste, because every human being has a unique taste. The moment I get your taste, I can keep it for the next 40 years without problem. But you see the generation that I see from 18, 19, 20, the moment they see this one, they like it. They see it and they like it. And so you keep trying to please, and you never satisfy them. So now, we can have this conversation now, because before, oh boy, I'll be in my studio working and sleeping and killing myself. Now, by the grace of God, I relax in photography. So I now have to understand my clientele is mostly from 30 years over. So we see those one come 2023, when you see the person arguing, I know. I will not say I cannot stand because of your age, but I'll just give them a price. The moment you're arguing now, I say, I'm sorry, I have something. I'll just, I can even buy them drinks. Okay, that's a better way to handle them. That's not a big deal. So it now make them not understand that I am no longer, because they can make them 5 hours begging you to accept their price. And the long run you accept it because you don't want them to weary you. But not the way they will trouble you, you not believe it. But you see that age group that they are already mature. To understand that taste is not difficult, because they too, they are handling projects. And what they know how to understand project, okay, please, can you do like this? Can you do that? But you see that one like below 23 say, no, I don't like it. Okay, what do you want? They can't tell you. Because I've just seen, so maybe their phone screen, or I don't understand. So for me, I just think I understand redefining your client base, your clientele, then be able to satisfy them. Because at this point in time now, I can no longer satisfy all my customers. Yes. So I target some certain customers that I give them my best.
Yes. Thank you very much. Okay, we're going to conclude with Mr. Glenn. So while you were sharing your story earlier, you spoke about the times where business wasn't good, or times where your gear was stolen, the time where your building wasn't moving. So what are some strategies to help creatives manage emotional and mental stress that comes with putting together passion and practicality together?
That's a very interesting question. All right, so you said this is my final chance to talk. All right, so I'm going to wrap this around, right, in a story. I just wanted to react to what I think Tango and Isiah said earlier. So how many of us here write down the revenues that we earn from our businesses as creatives? How many of us write it down? How many of us write down the expenses that we incur from our businesses as creatives? Transport to go somewhere, how many of us write it down? Good. So, I think I want to conclude by saying that this emotional stress that Jemma is talking about, it's going to fall on you if you're not looking at your craft as a business. After my presentation, you might have thought maybe I parked a Mercedes ML350 down there, because it sounded like life was going so fine. What kind of food can be here? What kind of food can? Not only because my house is not far, but because things could get way too difficult than you can imagine, right? Sometimes you might think that, life, you're making 200K a month, you can put 200K a month in your account, you're happy that everything is going on fine. You're going to very soon have to start paying bills and rents. You're going to very soon, one uncle or auntie will send one of their children to come and live with you. You have to start paying their school fees and buying food. You might have to get married. When you get married, you have a child. At that point in time, that 200K that used to be so good, right? It will not even be able to reach half of the month. Sometimes, honestly, I don't know how civil servants do it. People who the government pay 200K a month. I honestly don't know how they do it. I need to do a documentary on it. Like, how do you guys survive with a family in Yaoundé with 200K a month? I don't know how it's done. And the thing is, honestly, my pastor said one time something which I believe, because I think he's a very wise businessman too. He said, to survive in Yaoundé, if you have a family, you need to make at least 800,000 francs a month. If you are to have a car that you drive, because to have a car is no longer a luxury these days, it's a basic necessity. To have a car, it's not as if I cannot buy a car. If I want to buy a car tomorrow, I can make that purchase. But I have a financial principle which says that if I cannot buy 3 of those cars immediately, I should not buy it. I have money to buy a car somewhere, but that money cannot buy 3 of those cars, which means that I don't yet have enough money to own that car. Now, the point I am coming to is the fact that you need to start looking at your activity, your creativity as a business. And looking at it as a business means that you need to not only become a CEO, you need to start becoming an accounts clerk, you need to start becoming a community manager, you need to start becoming an operations manager, right? You need to start becoming a marketing manager. You need to become your own personal auditor if you cannot yet pay for one. You need to become your human resource manager to choose the people you would work with. And you see that the work has changed. A lot of people, that is the work that lies on you, that a lot of us don't accept. We only call ourselves CEOs and founders. But as a result of the fact that your operations is not in order, your financial management is not in order, you start falling into emotional stress. 1 minute you have money, the next minute you don't, next minute it's because things are not in order. You are only being the boss and you've not employed anybody else to play the roles under. When I started business, I got a job, my mentorship parcours, right? That was the best thing that ever happened to me, to my life as a person. Working for 2 years at Extended Limits in Bamenda. I worked there as a marketing, but I mean, it was a small company. We were just like maybe 6 or 7 of us in the company. Everybody was doing everything. I learned there how a business is supposed to run, how finances are supposed to be managed in a business. Heck, I even learned how to register my own business by myself there. I learned a lot of things, how to file for tax documents, how to make sure that your tax, if somebody asks for your certificate de non-relevance, in English it's called certificate of non-indebtedness from your company, I'll just go to the tax website online and print it there, right? Those are things that some companies pay accountants to do on a daily. Eventually, I'm going to hire an accountant because there's one on the payroll already who have to do all of those things. And as a result, when you see that everything is well mapped out, everything is well cleared out, your work stays at being creative. Creative. Right? Yeah. Every other activity that relates to the creativity process that has to make it a business, you have a way to manage it. After 2018, when I came to Yaoundé, I met with somebody who thought I was gifted and gave me an opportunity to work in places I'd never imagined before. And she taught me one of the most important principles that I've ever known in business. When you're working in a team, no matter what is going on, if the whole world is falling apart, if you're having problems with your colleagues and people want to fight, keep that thing inside you and deliver the client's job first. Well, she told me that way before we had, we were working on a project, 2021, I think. We traveled from Yaoundé to Limbe to Kribi and back to Yaoundé, and nobody was talking to anybody in the car. But we had to make that trip together because we had been paid to deliver and we had to deliver. I could have said that I don't want to travel with you people in that car, so I'm not doing this. But the principle for work is, if we're a team, we start this, we must finish it. That might be a little bit abstract for some of you, but it means so much to me because it's something that I saw its application in real time. Let me conclude. Let me not take so much time. To avoid emotional stress, because a lot of it is on the way, you need to learn how to look at your craft as a business. And when you learn how to look at it as a business, attend courses, take trainings on business management. Know the people you have to hire to work with you, or even if you're looking for your family members to occupy the roles, look for them. They need to do these things. If not, you would find yourself in the middle of doing so much. I mean, just as little as somebody who does TikTok videos. How many of us here know Auntie Felicia? How many of us have met him in real life? When you meet the man, he has a manager. He has a social community. He has a creative team. A team that goes through every skit before they shoot it and look at what they can add to it or take out of it. A lot of us here were trying to do all of this work by ourselves. And the truth is, we're not even recognizing how intense the work is. And as a result, it might plunge us into some emotional madness. Whereas you're just doing so much work that you don't even know what. Because you're a creative does not mean you're the one to be receiving the money. You're not necessarily the one to be receiving money. Find somebody, when a client wants to pay, they pay to that person. You just focus on doing creative work. Are we together? I think that's it. Did I answer your question?
As much as I would love to continue having this conversation, we would have to round up because of time. So please, can we give a round of applause to all our panelists again? Thank you very much to each of you for this very beautiful conversation. It has been able to open our minds to more possibilities, or to the things that we've put in our minds as myths, and it has been able to debunk so many fears that we've had. So we appreciate each of you. Thank you very much. As you make your way to your seats, can we clap for them? All right. Hello? Hello? Hi. Did we eat good? I'm not talking about food, I'm talking about what you heard here. Did you eat good? Yeah. So please give a round of applause for yourselves. So it has been a very eventful day. We've had different conversations, we've heard different people speak, and we've been able to learn more about our field, and I'm sure it has been an eye-opener to many of us. So I'll just speak, if you have something to say, something you've learned, yes. You just tell us one thing, one or two things you've learned today from everything that we've done today. We'll make it brief. Something you learned today.
I've learned to track my finances.
Okay. Who has learned something?
I've learned as a creative, I could refer my other creative colleagues and kind of decentralize the work and not want to eat alone.
Not eat alone.
I've learned that I need to keep learning.
You need to?
Keep learning.
Okay. Who else? Okay.
I've learned the importance of valuing your work.
Importance of valuing your work. Thank you.
I've learned that creativity is a myth. So it's a myth, yes.
Okay.
Actually, we don't create, we just steal like, we just copy and modify them.
Okay, I've learned that I should treat my craft as a business.
Thank you. Okay.
I've learned that I should learn to delegate tasks to others so that it gives me space to work on the creative process.
Thank you.
I've learned that gear doesn't matter.
Did you say gear doesn't matter or gear doesn't matter?
Gear doesn't matter.
I've learned that you should practice your work in such a way that people can't ignore you.
Okay. Who else?
I've learned about the legal matters of my craft.
The legal matters of your craft. For one day will come and bring police for you. Who else? Betty? Do you have anything to say? Okay.
I've learned that if you want to get the audience, then you have to put yourself in front of the audience.
Okay. Thank you. Anybody? Okay, I think we've been able to list almost everything that was said today, and I'm sure, or I hope, everybody is going to put it to practice. I know all your names. I have a list. There will be a follow-up to see whether you are putting it into practice, because if you are learning and not putting it into practice, it's just like a waste. Just like we just came to do garbage in, garbage out. But I trust all of you here that we are going to implement whatever we've learned, so that these people who have been able to talk to us, that's a form of reward for them, because we cannot pay them for the well of knowledge that they've given to us from their years of experience. But the way we can pay them is putting into practice what they've taught us, so that tomorrow we can say, oh, because of what Mr. Glenn said, I now treat my craft as a business. Oh, because of what Mr. Awa said, I now know my audience. So this is something that we need to take seriously, our craft, and I'm sure that we are going to take the creative industry in this country to global stages. Amen? Amen. Okay, it has been an honor serving as your host and event compare for today. Like I said earlier, creatives have a special place in my heart. I will marry a creative in Jesus' name. Okay, so it has been an honor being in the midst of amazing minds, brilliant people, and I would love to do this again with all of you. Thank you very much for looking at my face throughout today. That's why I had to make it look good for you. And I've been looking at all your faces, and I would love to connect with each and every one of you. And I'm sure in one way or the other, we can be able to create magic even after this. Thank you very much, and I remain the voice, Jemma. And I would like to, thank you. I'd like to invite the event organizer and convener for the closing remarks. Wait, hold on, don't come. Let me finish hyping you first. We are going to put our hands together for the... go back. We are not doing it again. Go back. Just stay one side. Yes. We are going to put our hands together for the CEO of Graceland Studios. Hold on, don't clap. My boss, the photographer extraordinaire, talk and do, the convener of Creative Connect.
All right, everyone, thank you for attending this event. I want to thank especially our speaker, Mr. Glenn, for being here up to this time. I want to thank Mr. Cliff. When I had some disappointment here, I already met him here. He was really early before 9 o'clock, and some Jefferson, Jemma. Thank you all for being here right to this time. And I think if we are going home with something, it should be, let's create a strong connection, a strong relationship between ourselves. Yeah, let's create a strong relationship between ourselves. So one thing I learned, especially Mr. Glenn said, yes. William Oreya wants Sony 50 mm. He actually promised me a 50 mm already. Yeah, so I'm really happy with the lesson. I've learned a lot, and we surely have to generate that teaching to go on the podcast. We'll also share it to everyone, maybe, and also upload it so everyone can have access to it. Thank you very much for being here up to this time. So, and we're just rounding up. We had a special guest. Doctors stepped in. I want to welcome Dr. Yembe to say a word before we close.
I didn't know I was saying a word, but when I tuned on Facebook this morning and I saw you in a red suit, I said I must come and see you. If it's really you. Because on my wedding day, I pleaded with him to dress in a suit, and he still came in jeans. So I know that if I want to see you in a suit, it's just organize a conference. But if you don't take what you do seriously, no one else will take it seriously for you. If you don't value yourself, no one will value you. And I was just so thankful and glad. I've not been very well in my body for the past 2 weeks, but when I saw the flyer, I'm going for administration now, and I saw that two people who I work with also very closely, Kawep and Glenn, were going to be speaking to you here. I said, I'm going to pass by, just to encourage, because it's an amazing thing. Cameroon is a difficult country. Being a Cameroonian is, someone said, it's a full-time job. That's true, but all of the countries that we admire, all of the industries or ministries that we admire were at this phase at some point. And then there were some people who decided that we may not even experience what we want, but we are going to mark a difference for the next generation. And most of them are dead today. Most of them are not the names that you would know in your creative space from different countries that you admire. But these are people who did what you people are doing today, did the foundational work. The foundation is always buried. Nobody would know it. Nobody would see it. But we see the beautiful house, the staircase, the beautiful tiles and paint. But the foundation, the people who actually go down and under to make things happen, not necessarily for themselves, are rarely ever seen and rarely recognized. And that's what brought me here today. I said I was going to come here and just encourage. I was thinking I was going to come at the end when it's finished, just to catch Grace and Glenn and say congratulations for something that you put in. But I'm happy that I could meet everyone here. And just to encourage you, Cameroon is not a tough place. It's just an underdeveloped place. You know, when you get to a virgin piece of land that has never been cultivated or houses built there, it looks very, very, very difficult because there are big trees that have been there for a very, very long time, and you just feel it's impossible. You go to Bastos and you see nice houses, and you feel that, well, that's where I should be. But it's someone who came to, people who are the wealthiest people in Cameroon now are those who came to Yaoundé when Yaoundé was a forest, and they bought that forest. And now they can sell a piece of a square meter for 500,000 or even 1 million, a square meter. But they bought it many years ago. So I came to encourage you people. The work that you people are doing is an amazing work. I believe in media very much, so much that I sacrificed the house to get into media. I believe that everything that we do is passing. Everything that we do is passing, but through a photograph, through a video shoot, you are able to capture eternity. And even when you die, that video doesn't die. I'm a Christian, and I find many people who say, I'm so blessed, I was blessed by Miles Monroe. Miles Monroe was teaching me yesterday that, and I say, hold on, Miles Monroe is dead. But there was a creative somewhere who wrote his production plan, who put the team together and recorded his messages, transformed them into podcasts, transformed them into video teachings, some into audio lessons, and it's still changing lives today. Till Jesus comes, that's going to be happening. And so when I came to that realization, I said, well, putting down your art into some writing, into a video, into a picture, is something eternal. It's something godly. Because only God has that capacity to pause time. And the only way that we as human beings can pause time is to take a picture or take a video. So your work that you do is not little. It's an amazing work. Our president is still in power today because of a creative, a media person, who when there was a coup d'etat, made that information should not go out. Media is very powerful. That's why all powerful people have a media company. So as an aspiring powerful person, when I grew up, and that's why I'm very particularly invested, and I love media people, and I just came here to show my support. I've worked with Ereck for many, 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 many years. I'm happy that the first line people here are people that I know very much, and I'm encouraging you who is stepping into this space. The creative space is a space where there's space for everyone. It's just like the sky. Hundreds and thousands and millions of planes are flying. No, all of them have their route. And so there's just enough but it takes endurance and perseverance. I'm hoping that together we can build a better Cameroon and show a different image of Cameroon outside and stop making people jackpot, run out, but attract more people to come and collaborate with us. We have a beautiful country, and I think that story can only be told by people with the kind of minds that God has given you people, the creative. So thank you very much. I won't take much of your time, but I really just wanted to express how blessed I am, seeing that you people can put up something on your own and show up for it, and also see Kaweb wearing a suit. Thank you so much.
I'm back again. Okay, this is the final speech. Thank you very much for coming to the first edition of, the first edition of Young Creatives Connect for Upgrade, brought to you by Grace Lens Studios. See you next time, hopefully hosted by this beautiful lady again. Protocoled by Big Mommy and Auntie Gloria, who was able to put together a beautiful meal. Please, can we put our hands together for her? Thank you very much to the media team, the protocol, to the audience for coming, and to our special guests and panelists for making this an insightful conversation. Thank you very much, and see you in the next edition.